Ever since the dawn of the podcast, we've been forced to listen to some hack's opinion on various topics. In films, they've trashed stories and characters, often employing their own concept of what is cool to a tool who went to film school for a fucking semester and now think they're God himself, Francois Truffaut. In sports, they've criticized teams and players about their play, from a guy who played 4 years of JV bench in high school. I pledge to you, let's make the podcast great again. This podcast will change absolutely nothing.
This is the first episode of But I Didn't Say That podcast. I am Manu Healy.
This is Oski.
I'm Kevin.
And today's episode will be about Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. So let's get to it.
That's how it starts. The fever, the rage that turns good men cruel.
Black and blue. God versus man. Day versus night. The red capes are coming. The red capes are coming.
Yeah, let's start off this movie review with a bang. We're going to be talking about one of the highly anticipated movies that was supposed to come out in 2016. I know I waited in line for it. I know a lot of people were waiting in line for it. We were reading blogs, we were reading reviews, how this movie was being made, how long it took for this movie to be made. But when we finally saw it, shit happens. I'm talking about My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2. Wait, I'm not?
No, we're not.
Oh, that's right. We're talking about Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. I enjoyed it. A lot of people are going to say they didn't, that it was too long, which, yeah, I will probably cut up maybe an hour and a half, but the parts that I did enjoy were more than the parts that I did not like. So that's basically my impression of the movie, just a quick one. Let's go to this fanboy. Let me warn you people, spoiler alert, this guy is a big DC mark and a pro Snyder anything. So, Kevin, what you think of the movie?
Obviously, this movie has some flaws, but overall, I really enjoyed this movie. There were certain characters I really enjoyed, and yeah, we'll talk about it.
So, out of the 400 characters, which one did you enjoy the most?
Jesse Eisenberg.
Wow, a lot of people are panning his performance. I actually thought it was pretty good. I actually would have preferred more Jesse Eisenberg, to tell you the truth, in this movie, and we would have cut out the other 600 characters that appeared in it. But let's go to Oski's review.
First off, longest 3 hours of my life.
Hater.
It was funner standing in line, waiting to go in. I saw more action. I saw more humor. And to be honest, Ben Affleck was just okay.
Okay.
Jesse Eisenberg was horrible.
Okay,
So I haven't seen a character flip-flop so much in a movie.
So this is coming.
No action.
Oh my
no
God.
humor. So long. Those action
It doesn't
scenes
need humor.
Those action scenes were garbage. Okay? You cannot
Dude,
call
that Batman action scene was the best out of everything. Way better than Marvel.
All right, guys. Let me get this back on the ropes because I know people are about to get a headache listening to you too. So let's just talk about actual premises and parts of the movie that a lot of people are going to. So let's go with story. Let's go with story first. I thought this movie had a lot of story.
wow. Really?
For 2.5 hours because there was too much. It was too much. It was too convoluted. There was too much of this, not enough of that. And they were trying to mix in, like I said, like 600 characters, and you just can't do that with 2.5 hours. I'm sorry, you just can't.
But did you feel that the characters overcrowded each other? I didn't think so.
Yeah, I think this movie would have been better. Just would have been Batman because that's basically what it was.
So you want a Batman solo film?
This wasn't
we
this.
are eventually gonna get later.
Wasn't this
You
a
know
Batman
what?
solo?
That's
Yeah.
pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
It was a Batman solo film. and you know what? It was a non-existent story, and it felt like a segment here. This is one part of a story. It can build up into something else. Oh, here's another story, and it was all pieced together very sloppily. There's holes everywhere.
But I think
there's too much inconsistency for you to even call it a story.
But I think one of the main issues was this movie played too much to Man of Steel, which
but it should have done that.
But not for an hour and a half.
The opening sequence.
This was basically what he couldn't add at the end of Man of Steel. He put it in the beginning of this one. That's basically what it felt like.
And it did feel like that.
You could have written Lex Luthor in the
Lex Luger.
Not Lex Luger. Lex Luger.
We got a Luger fan over here.
You could have written Lex Luthor in the opening sequence with Ben Affleck when they see Superman crashing down buildings with General Zod.
But that
would have given him a motive.
But now,
you're later on.
But you're talking about one specific character. This movie I think this movie would have worked if it was a simple story of, because Superman completely destroyed Metropolis and Man of Steel. I think it caused more havoc than Hurricane Katrina. maybe I'm not so sure, but it was just too long to show the effects of Man of Steel, and then we have 50 minutes left in this movie, so let's rush the 50 minutes in. Which I'm gonna tell you, if you would have cut this movie an hour and a half to about 20 minutes, with the action sequence that it had, which I thought were pretty good, the Doomsday part, a little iffy. I like the first mutation of Doomsday character, but when he starts transforming into different characters, just too much. The way the way Wonder Woman was introduced, really, this is what people were nutting over. Wonder Woman coming in like this.
But that's the biggest thing. I mean, this is coming from someone that enjoyed the movie, and you're listing so many complaints.
No, but it's not that many complaints. But what I'm saying is just there's certain parts that you're like, this movie if it was 2 parts and half of this movie wasn't in it, I'd be okay with it. But it's
you're saying if it was a miniseries,
yeah,
and he had over 10 hours to introduce all these characters, then it'd be fine.
Well,
but then we're talking about something else completely. We're not talking about Batman v Superman, are we?
Well, look at the Avengers. The Avengers was what, 5 characters, 6 characters,
yeah,
the most.
I'm not going to disagree.
A bunch of characters.
No, it's a lot of characters.
It's 6 characters, simple story, and it was built on just the action. This is what this movie should have been built on.
But Marvel had the benefit of having those solo movies that introduce each character. And what Snyder should have done was completely avoid Bruce Wayne's backstory. Because all that did was repeat something we've already seen on film so many different times.
But everyone
you know why it was so forced? Just so he can add that Martha there.
But everyone has their own point of view for their origin story. But it's basically, I think it is true that Marvel did have the one-up on being able to release all their standalone movies first and then introduce the Avengers. I think the issue with this is, since we have Batman, we have Christian Bale's Batman, we have Michael Keaton Batman, Val Kilmer's Batman, George Clooney.
Let's not forget
Lego Batman, Adam West Batman, Axel Braun's Batman. It's just, there's so many Batmans out there that you can't. No, you haven't seen that movie? I highly recommend
the review
those
for that one is next episode.
Yes, and
Batman
we will
v Superman XXX.
And we will be reviewing that movie in our Netflix and chill section of this podcast. But let me get back to what I was saying. But there's just a lot of, this is a character that's been looked at and used so many times that there's just not a true definite version of it. There's only one Iron Man. There's only, 2 Captain Americas, 1 Thor, and that benefits it.
That's fine, but what you're praising is Batman. And this was Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to address the backstory, then you should have done that in the solo Batman movie that's coming up. The problem is that they added that long slow-mo sequence in the beginning just for the Martha, which was forced. Because all of a sudden, he hears Martha and he flips out, but instantly becomes his best friend.
But okay,
you know how forced that felt? That felt completely out of character. This guy's ready to impale Superman, and he just drops it because of the Martha.
But
Really, like this is someone who knows that Lois Lane is Superman's connection to humanity. But now that he has a mom, he knows that that's not his real mom. Yet that's why he drops the spear. That's completely out of character.
someone has mama issues. We're not gonna get in. We're not getting involved with that. Shit, if I heard someone talking shit about my mama, I'll impale that son of a bitch straight in the ass. Let me tell you that something, right? But we're getting into now the other part of this movie that a lot of people didn't like, which were the characters. There's a lot of characters that are flushed out entirely in this movie, and then there's some characters that you're like, wait, this
Flushed down the toilet. You mean?
uh,
I think you meant fleshed out. And
Yes.
really, the only character that had any type of story was Batman.
yeah, and it's
I mean,
true.
Lois Lane, to Amy
they
Adams'
had-
credit, was very believable. She was the only one that I felt was playing Lois Lane.
But okay,
she played her character just right.
all right, let me
Superman was one-dimensional.
Okay.
Jesse Eisenberg was.
let me get
insane.
that's
He
where I'm
was
getting to,
insane.
and that's where I'm getting to, and that's where I'm gonna get to. So we're just gonna quick off the bats. We all agree Batman was fine. There's enough story that gave Batman that umph that we actually knew why Batman didn't like Superman. We don't like how he turned out, that he became friends with him and how he helped him, but Batman is a complete character in this movie. We all agree, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Superman is what, 10 minutes and a lot of fight scenes, and throughout this whole movie, all I kept thinking about is Superman's an asshole. All he does is destroy shit. A lot of people don't like the Brandon Routh version of Superman, but I think that Superman had a lot of heart because there were so many scenes of him helping people and rescuing people.
And I think that's what they were trying to play off here. I think the benefit that Brandon Routh's Superman had was that it was playing off of Christopher Reeve's Superman, which people love those movies.
Oh, it wasn't his boyish looks? No? No.
Well, there's a reason why Bryan Singer cast Christopher Reeve.
Whoa,
looking
whoa,
like-
whoa,
the
whoa,
second
whoa,
actor
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Bryan
whoa, we're not
Singer
gonna
was
do that.
considering was Henry Cavill too.
Yeah,
And-
but touching back to Batman v Superman, let's not go into a different review. Superman is supposed to be the heart of this movie. We're supposed to feel kind of, oh my god, he just died. And it felt like, good, he's died. What's next? Let's be honest. I mean, Superman could be the ultimate being, and here he is being completely emotionally wrecked with all these daddy issues. I mean, this is a guy who could have done something more in Man of Steel and chose not to. I mean, it just.
But you're forgetting that the Superman we are getting right now is a Superman that's only been Superman for a couple months, couple weeks, 1 year.
No, I don't think that has anything to do with
doesn't-
it because there's
It does.
no,
It does.
no, it
Man
doesn't.
of Steel basically introduces us a Superman and shows us the way people would view a
But
god.
that's not true because then why show stories of Superman being able to control his powers at a young age? This is Superman who's been grown out. As an adult, he finally became Superman, but he already knew he had these powers long ago. It's not that. It's just you can tell from what my opinion is Zack Snyder's not a big Superman fan, and he preferred Batman. And come on, Batman is a way cooler character than Superman.
No, I agree with
Agreed.
that. I agree with that. And that's why his character was actually fleshed out.
Yeah.
See, Superman is a character of inaction. He's very hesitant. And then when he finally does act, he acts on the pressures of other characters. That whole scene, that whole interaction with him and Jesse Eisenberg, completely forced. I mean, this is somebody who
when
flew across
they're
the
on top of
planet.
the tower.
Yes, flew across the planet to save Lois Lane, but when his mother was being kidnapped, he couldn't go save her, and this was even before the
Well,
whole interaction with
well, partner, we got you know why
She
he
gives
saved
up
it.
the pie, man.
Okay, well, that's not what I wanted to say, but let's just continue going with characters. I just want a quick rundown of what did you guys think of how the Justice League was introduced? Kevin, what did you think?
I'll agree with George on this one. It was kind of forced. But I gotta say, Wonder Woman to me was meh. Cyborg was pretty cool because the way they introduced him with the mother box, the way they introduced Flash in the little vignette, and the way they introduced him in the G sequence was awesome. And Aquaman, that's the one I had a problem with.
Why?
But you were the most hyped for
Exactly, because I thought we were gonna get so much more of Aquaman that we only got him smiling at the camera.
But wait, you don't. This is coming from a guy who doesn't like Roman Reigns, so now we know why he doesn't like Aquaman.
He needs to be a heel.
Roman, he doesn't like Roman Reigns' take on Aquaman.
That's not Roman Reigns, you know that, right?
Wait,
it's just Momoa.
That's Khal Drogo, man.
Wait, that wasn't Roman Reigns?
We'll get to that later.
We'll get to that later. WrestleMania is coming up. So a review on
it's coming up. We just finished watching a couple hours ago.
Our review is coming up. But yeah, so touching off of what Kevin just said, those introductions were forced. They could have been an afterthought. They could have been added at the end, actually, and then would have made people stick around and kind of be excited for the next chapter.
Do you think it would have been better to have seen the Justice League in action helping defeat Doomsday?
I thought that's what we were going to get.
I didn't think that.
Wonder Woman, Superman, and Aquaman coming.
But that wouldn't make any sense because if you're first going to introduce Doomsday, you have to introduce the Death Superman storyline.
Yeah.
And Doomsday does not fight anybody before. I think he does fight Batman actually. I think he fights Batman before he fights Superman. But it's the whole point. But the whole point is you have to have that Death of Superman scene, and it's what they're using for the storyline to connect the Justice League. And I thought that was fine. I didn't have any issues. I didn't have any issues with how they were introduced because I wasn't expecting them to have 30 minutes of a movie. They had 2 minutes of a movie. They introduced to the world who they were because we're talking about the DC universe. That's the movie universe because everyone knows nobody watches the TV universe. Have you?
Don't even get me started.
Wait, have you seen Legends of Tomorrow?
I recently stopped watching because I keep forgetting about it, but I'm on
this
season
is from a DC
5.
fanboy right here.
Yeah, but to my point, this is just an introduction, folks. We're gonna start getting them fleshed out. I thought Momoa looked fine, the Flash looked fine, Cyborg looked fine. The Wonder Woman storyline was a little iffy for me. Like, okay, she steals the box from Bruce Wayne, and she doesn't have a tech or a geek squad to help her decrypt what she took. So she basically stole it for no point. She doesn't know what it is. Yet, how does she know that her picture is there?
Right. So that was the other thing. Like, there's a lot of inconsistencies with that whole thing. I mean, Lex Luthor has their pictures. He has videos on them. He has their emblems. I mean, is this guy for
That's
me?
fine.
But
Is
that's
this
what
guy
I
for
find
me?
fascinating about Lex.
No, but I thought that's fine because, like, trust me, when I put not pornos. When I have my
okay,
when I have my
excited
files
about that
when
porn
I-
parody review coming up.
when I have no, but when
BBS
when I have
XXX
when I have
later.
my files on my computer, I have logos if I have them. I put the logos to identify what the movie is, and I have nicknames for it. You know, like this podcast, I have a shit nickname for it. You know, because that's what I'm guessing it might be. But that didn't get to me. The characters were fine as far as how they were introduced. I don't have any issues with it. But let's get to the last part of the review, which we always will be doing, which is a part that we just like to say how we would have fixed it. So if I gave you the keys to the Justice League movie, Kevin, what would be the main thing you would change from Dawn of Justice?
The main thing I would change would be the way they introduced the 3 other members of the Justice League. The way...
Which are who?
Which are Aquaman, Cyborg, and Flash.
But they've already been
should say
introduced.
also-
But they've already been introduced.
But I would change the way they were introduced. I would
No,
actually
but-
have them fighting at the end.
But I'm not.
making them-
But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, you have the keys to the Justice League Part 1. how would you fix the mistakes from Dawn of Justice?
And I don't have no Zack Snyder.
No, he's directing this, but you're writing it. Okay, that's what I thought. Wow.
Yeah, it's not so easy.
We just had a 20-minute conversation about this movie, and he has no point. This is something you're gonna get used to, people. We're gonna ask Kevin these questions,
and you're gonna have a lot of dead air.
Yeah, it's like we're telling him to decipher the Manhattan Project. But we'll get back to you on that one, partner. Oski, how would you fix it?
You know what? I was not happy with them introducing Doomsday and killing off Superman. The whole point of having a Justice League is to have Superman, is to have Batman, is to have the rest of the Justice League. You know what? In order for them to unite these meta-humans, there's going to have to be an even bigger threat than Doomsday. We're talking intergalactic, right? So I'm thinking we have Darkseid up here. That's the only way to really fix this. But you know what? Have it be 2 movies and have it focus on each character. We can't have one-dimensional characters and have Batman be the star. And I have a feeling that that's what's going to happen. Even though he's getting his own solo film, I believe that the Justice League is going to be Batman Justice League Part 1, Batman Justice League Part 2. That's what I think is going to happen. And to be honest, I would just kind of focus on each character.
All right.
Show me why I should care about them.
Yeah. So, Kevin, round 2, baby.
I have it.
Round 2.
Let's go.
Ding
so
ding.
what I would do is The Throne of Atlantis, which is the animated movie they made where it's Aquaman and the Atlanteans versus Wonder Woman and the Amazons.
I'm sorry, people. This is not Kevin. This is El Mayimbe from Heroic Hollywood.
It makes perfect sense, though. And that's the movie they're writing anyway.
But I think there's only I think well, this is how I would fix it, and it's quite simple. I'm not gonna bore you about action sequences, stories, tons of characters. This movie needs one thing.
Slow-mos.
No. It needs one thing. It needs one character added to this movie, and the one character is going to be, God damn it, Han Solo comes back. If they could bring back Superman, they're gonna bring back Han Solo for Justice League, and they form a galactic duo with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe throw in the little Howard the Duck.
Your solution to DC's problem is to bring in the Marvel Universe.
Exactly, and that's how we will fix this problem that we have over at DC.
And these are 2 guys that love this movie, by the way, and their solution is to make it the Marvel way.
Exactly.
I love it.
This is such a great film. This was our Batman v Superman review. Thank you for listening, and tune in next time for episode 2, WrestleMania Weekend. And always remember, believe in But I Didn't Say That podcast.
Damn!